Welcome to today's video. I'm happy to be making today's video from Kerala in India. I flew here earlier this week. I'm actually staying at an Ayurvedic retreat center for about 2 weeks. So the next few videos that you're going to see from me are going to be from this room. This is my lovely little room that I've been given. I don't have my regular setup, so the audio and video may not be as great. But I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be here for the next 2 weeks. It's been a wonderful experience so far. And I just wanted to come on and answer a few questions for you. So today we're going to be covering the question from Jason. Jason said, "Hi guys, happy to be here. The dilemma here is the mind is very quiet after many years of using a practice SBT, which is to rest in the space between thoughts. After many years, there really isn't much thought arising whatsoever. Yet, this isn't it. As last year, a glimpse happened of no me, which was awesome, yet very brief. What is happening where I know I'm not thoughts, as this is actually ridiculous, to be honest, but the true seeing isn't coming afterwards. I've seen the seeing without a separate me. All that is just seeing one thing." So you say, what is happening is I know I'm not thoughts, but the true seeing isn't coming afterwards. So firstly, let's begin here. The point of spiritual practice is not just to have a quiet mind. And it looks like you've realized this. In the beginning, that is the main thing we want. When we're experiencing so much suffering and restlessness, we want to just, quiet our mind and have those glimpses of rest and peace. So it's wonderful at that time, But as we start going deeper, we start to realize that even with a quiet mind, still the restlessness comes back. It's just like phases, sometimes restless, sometimes quiet. So where you have to begin to inquire is, who am I that witnesses a quiet mind and a restless mind? When mind is quiet or mind is not there, when there are no thoughts, as what am I aware of that? This is the point of self-inquiry. You see, self-inquiry is not like any other meditation, which is just trying to get your mind to calm down for moments at a time. Because the point of self-inquiry is not just to focus the mind, it is to liberate the mind. Self-inquiry is not just a questioning process. Even if when we ask the question, who am I? Or what is aware of the absence of mind? It is there to turn your gaze inward. It is to help you notice that you are that already, which is subtler than thoughts. The thoughts that previously claimed to be you, now when they're not there, yet you still know that. You still are aware of the absence of those thoughts. As what do you remain? Here is where your whole identity begins to be questioned. Because even right now, that quote-unquote space of nothingness from where you know these thoughts or the absence of thoughts, somehow we impose personal identity on. We say that awareness is me, my awareness. We refer to the personal self. We say that awareness is my personal self's awareness. But this is a misconception. This is what that question, as what do I remain when all thought is not, brings to the light. Because you see, your entire idea of yourself, the personal identity, is all thought made. So when thoughts are not, there is no personal identity until, once again, thoughts arise and start to create personal identity, create a sense that I'm aware, I'm being as a person. But when thoughts are not, and you're investigating, as what do I remain? Notice how there's nothing personal there. You are not aware as a person. There's no notion of name or story or face, body, nothing there. That is where we have to become curious. And from here, because it is a conceptless awareness, a conceptless noticing of one's being, free from all personal ideas, there's literally no concept here. There's not even a concept of, hey, when is this awakening going to happen? There's not even a concept of nothingness or self-realization. This is spiritual practice. This is the depth that you have to continue visiting. Or in other words, realizing you are already that. And now again, notice that we do this practice for the sake of some reward. We do this practice feeling like I'm going to get something out of it. But that is the paradigm you have to shift. That is the belief you have to let go of, the expectation, which is a better word, that you have to let go of. Stop trying to make something happen in meditation through your spiritual practice. Because anything that you are trying to make happen is just your idea of what awakening is or should be, that you have heard from others. And so taking their ideas, making your ideas about what they have said, you have this idea of spiritual awakening and how it is supposed to come about and when and whatnot. But that is all an idea. Even if you experience an amazing experience in meditation, and then you're trying to recreate that and go back to it, you're limiting yourself, you see. So you have to begin to drop all of these expectations. You have to start to notice that all of these expectations are arising on behalf of personal identity, and they are keeping intact the current personal paradigm, the idea that I'm a person seeking spiritual realization. And you have to start to visit this quote-unquote space, which is simply your being. You have to start to notice your being, which is conceptless, wordless, right? That is what the practice of self-inquiry is. And if you don't know exactly how to practice that, I'll talk about it a little bit later in the video. I'll show you a resource that will teach you. So that you have to start visit that space that is totally conceptless, notionless, even free from ideas about spiritual realization or awakening or what's going to happen next. There's no next there. And that's quite it. Let yourself just do the practice, and that is it. You don't need anything from it. You don't expect anything from it. You're not trying to make anything happen from it. You are just doing this practice because, hey, this is where you are feeling called towards, because when you're curious about the truth of yourself, it is calling you in this inward direction, and you're just following that. The question, who am I? It is bringing you inwards. It is bringing you into an inward direction. Do you notice that? So that's all you're doing. You're just going, in a way, closer and closer to yourself, away from what you appear to be, more and more subtler towards what you truly are. So I wish to share a quote with you from this book that I'm reading, The Teachings of Ramana Maharshi. Okay, and this is completely related to your question, because someone asked him also, when is self-realization going to happen, or how do I make it happen, or how do I get rid of these mental impressions and whatnot? So he said, abiding in that state in which mind has permanently been rendered one and identical with the beingness of the self, one need not worry about the fact that the mind is yet to die a conclusive death. Let that destruction of the not happen when it is destined to happen. You remain attending to ensuring absence of promiscuity of thought, and that is enough. So let me just break down the first part for you. Abiding in that state in which the mind has permanently been rendered one and identical with the beingness of the self. This is the practice of self-inquiry. Every single time you, rather than just pursuing thought, you become aware of the noticer of thought, the witnessing of thought, the awareness of thought, right? When you ask the question, who am I? And you start to acknowledge not the thought, but instead the one who knows the thought, the one who sees the thought and the absence of thought. In that moment, the mind sinks back into the heart of knowledge, of knowing. in that moment, the mind is one and identical with the beingness of the self. So, abiding in that state, one need not worry about the fact that the mind is yet to die a conclusive death. Don't worry about when is something going to happen, when is this realization or whatever is going to happen. Just that your work, you just need to do your work, forget about the fruits of your labor. And he says, let that destruction of that knot, and what he's referring to is just like this personal identification, happen when it is destined to happen. You just remain attending to ensuring absence of the promiscuity of thought, and that is enough. So no matter how much the mind keeps going outward, you do your job in keep bringing it back into the source, and that is all. My friend, if you keep your spiritual practice simple in this way, then you won't be frustrated. You won't be constantly feeling stuck. You won't be constantly expecting things and, wondering, oh, when is this going to happen? You won't be constantly comparing your experience to other people's experience. And honestly, that just gives rise to pure authenticity. And if you are struggling with this practice and you really want more personal help, learn more about my School of Awakening. It helps you really deepen your practice and dissolve mind identification also, and really start to become aware of your beingness from where you know. So I'll link it down below. Check out whatever resource resonates with you. I hope the video helped you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.